It's Just Ask Jen chat is about one of those questions I get asked a lot, and there's always a little bit of panic behind the question, and it's which village should I stay in when I cancel a plan? So the first thing I want to do is just take the pressure off of that panic and say, relax. There is no perfect village for everyone. There are better villages for your holiday depending on who you're travelling with and lots of other different holiday factors. Yeah, different villages are going to suit you better, but there is no perfect village. And to also reassure you that all of the villages are connected, whether it's by the ski slopes or the free shuttle buses and the lifts connecting the whole area. So wherever you end up staying, you are going to be able to get around and explore the whole of the La Plagne area. So I hope that reduces the little panic a little bit and we can take a deep breath. So we're going to jump into the different villages and how to make the decision of which one is going to suit you better for your family. And it's going to come down to things like your non-negotiables. That's what you want to think about first. So what are the things that you most want to get out of your holiday? It's stuff like, do you want ski in, ski out access? Do you want to be close to loads of nightclubs and bars and restaurants and things? Do you need to be near the beginner slopes? Are you traveling with kids? So you want to be near some kid-friendly ski slopes and stuff like that. What are your budget constraints? Are you wanting to, really blow the budget on like a holiday of a lifetime, or are you looking for super cheap, or you're looking for something in the middle? Whatever it is, everybody has a budget, and it's just then kind of narrowing down what's going to suit your budget or which area might suit your budget better. So those questions have, on the one hand, you might think nothing to do with which village to choose, but what they're actually going to do is set the scene for then picking the village that ticks those boxes for you. So that's something to have a little think about. If you haven't met me, I should introduce myself. My name is Jen and I live in La Plagne all year round with my family of 3 children under 10. And in the winter we ski as much as possible around the usual family life stuff. And in the summer we explore this beautiful area. So we hike, we wakeboard, we go mountain biking when the lifts are open. We just really make the most of living in this beautiful holiday destination. Okay, so let's jump into the villages. I'm going to start off with Plagne Centre because this is the one that people know perhaps the most, and it's also the village that I call home. So the clue is in the name for this one, Plagne Centre. It really is in the centre of most of the things that you'll find around La Plagne. It's got the main bus station, although there are bus stations, of course, in all of the other villages. And it does have a hub of like the larger tourist information offices, and it also has the gym and the sports hall and things like that in Plagne Centre. So it just has a few more facilities perhaps than the other villages might do. It's got really good ski and ski out access. Bonjour. So it's right kind of on the slopes. It's one of the nice things about La Plagne though, is that pretty much all the villages are on the slopes. So you'll find that there's ski in, ski out access to a lot of accommodations around the resort. But La Plagne really is on the front. So most of the accommodation is kind of high rise, perhaps, so apartments and things that may look like chalets, but then you kind of ski into the front of all those buildings and residencies. There's also great access to the ski school meeting points. You've got a couple of the biggest ski schools that have points here, so that is really helpful. And you've also got you've got the Bergerie, you've got the Grand Rochette, you've got the Lovatière, and you've got the Bellecôte. So you've got 4 really large chairlifts that take you up and away to other parts of the ski resort as well. So it does give you quick access to get up and out when you're skiing. So that is Plagne Centre for you. It's great if you like having everything nearby, and it's great if you're looking to kind of explore a lot of the other areas, either on skis or by foot. So now let's look across at Bellecôte. So Bellecôte is super convenient. Again, it almost looks like one big residency block, and everything is connected by corridors on the ground level of the gallery. And on the ground level of this gallery, you've got loads of shops and restaurants that kind of open up onto the snow fronts, where you'll find your ski hire places and things as well. There's then a big snow front outside of Bellecôte, which is quite flat, and then you've got the slope, which you kind of ski down and then into the flat, into the residency. So I would say it's ski in, but you can't really ski out because you've got to get up out of the village, but it is on the snow, if that helps. It is a real kind of hub for getting up and out in the morning, because you've got the big Roche de Millau bubble lift that leaves from here. You've also got the Arpet chairlift, which is the route that everybody has to take if they're going up and across to Les Arcs. And you've also got the Colossus chairlift, which takes you up and back across to Plagne Centre and across the other side of the piste map. So it does get really, really busy at those key points in the morning, like ski school drop off between like 9:30 and 10 o'clock. There can be some real big lift queues there, and also at the end of the day when everyone's heading home. So it is super convenient, but it can be super busy. The one other thing I'd say about Bellecôte is recently as well, it's become very popular with student groups and larger groups using it, because there's some really good nightlife in the area there. So it is great for a party atmosphere and ambience, but just be aware that it can be quite loud with music and people having a great time in the evening. So if you're travelling with little ones that want to sleep earlier, this might not be the village for you. Let's move up to Belle Plagne. Belle Plagne is the village that's just above Bellecôte. So Belle Plagne is one of the prettiest villages in La Plagne. It still has lots of high rises and lots of residencies, but the actual centre of Belle Plagne is all pedestrianised. So think cobble streets. It's got more of that cutesy alpine village feel and charm. Also some really fantastic restaurants, great ski hire shops, and again, very well connected to the rest of the resort, although it is kind of the last village and one of the highest villages. It is really well connected, but it can take you a bit of time to get to the other villages, because you've kind of got to drop down to Bellecôte and then make your way across to other villages wherever you're heading. So if you're looking to explore further afield in the afternoons and evenings as a pedestrian, this might not be the best spot for you. But if you're looking for great skiing and higher kind of access to the snow, then this is a really lovely option. And there's also some really beautiful accommodations up here as well, and some great chalets and some fantastic apartments. So Belle Plagne can be a really good one. Okay, let's move slightly lower down. We'll talk about Plagne 1800. So Plagne 1800 is just below Plagne Centre. And it is really popular with the English community, English skiers, and the Anglophone community in general. This is because it's kind of a hub of really great chalet operators. So we've got some independent chalet operators, and then we've also got some of the larger ones as well. And it's mainly because this is the village where you'll find a lot of chalets. There are still some hotels and some residencies, but you have also got those standalone independent chalets, and they are really lovely. So if you're looking for that kind of classic catered alpine chalet holiday, Plagne 1800 is probably going to tick your list quite high up. 1800 has a really lovely feel as well when you're wandering around the village. It really feels like a village atmosphere. It's lovely. There's also a really great beginners area on the ski slope there in the middle of 1800, and it's where the ESF ski school is based. So if you have got little skiers who are just starting out, odds are you might end up on the beginner slope, so it's quite easy access again from most of the accommodations. One thing I would say is that if you've kind of got slightly less confident skiers, it can be quite hard to ski back into at the end of the day, because the slopes heading back down into the village from whichever direction you're coming, they are blue slopes on the piste map, but they are pretty steep and they do get quite icy. And I say this as someone whose view from home looks onto those slopes, and I always take those slopes to get home myself, and I always come across people who are really struggling to get down there. So I would say beautiful place to stay, but if you're a little bit more nervous skiing, then it might be a better option for you to just stop in Plagne Centre, hop on the bus and take the bus back down to 1800, which is like 5 minutes if that, and it's free, and it will drop you off very close to wherever it is that you're staying. Okay, let's move on now to Plagne Village and Plagne Soleil, and I mention them both together because they do often get lumped together. So we've got Plagne Village and we've got Plagne Soleil. Plagne Village is where the, for those of you that know La Plagne, it's for where the lift comes up into. So there's a lift that runs from Plagne Centre up to Plagne Village as a free shuttle pedestrian service, and it runs until I think 1:45 to midnight in the evenings, but don't hold me to that. And then Plagne Soleil is the one that is just across the slope, and the key is in the name, Plagne Soleil. It's in the sun, it gets lots of sunshine. So these villages get kind of lumped together because they're kind of easy to walk between the two, and because of that you've got a really great selection of restaurants, some really lovely restaurants. You've got some big sunny terraces as well in Plagne Soleil, so really great spot for like a long sunny lunch, or for sundowner drinks in the evening. A lot of the restaurants are also really well positioned on the slopes so that you can ski into them, and also the kids can play in the snow because there's just a lot of space, so really great for that. Again, some lovely chalets in both of these places, and some new residencies as well, like the White Pearl that's been built in Plagne Village that also has ski in, ski out access. Some really nice accommodation options. Plagne Village and Plagne Soleil work really well for families, And this is because there's not a huge amount of nightlife, although you're actually very close to the Bergerie après-ski, which is the main après-ski on the slopes in La Plagne. There's not much access or not much local access to late nightlife, so you would be looking at taking the lift down to centre and then taking the buses to get elsewhere for a late night party. So yeah, really great for families or more chilled holidays, but if you're looking for late night life, then you might be looking at one of the other villages like Plancento or Bellecôte. Okay, now let's look up at Aime 2000. This is kind of the last altitude village in La Plagne. Aime 2000 is the one you might be able to see in the distance behind me over there. It is the very kind of 1970s feel building. It looks like a bit of a concrete mountain. And again, it's all purpose built, so it means that the whole building is kind of ski in and it is ski out as well. A lot of people think it looks a bit ugly from outside, but what I will say, after having loads of clients stay in apartments there, is you can get some great deals on accommodation in Aime 2000. There is loads of accommodation and loads of options, and also once you're in the building, the views out from the accommodations are stunning. So depending on whether you're on the front or the back of the building, you've got views across the valley into Mont Blanc, or you've got views onto the ski slopes and up towards the ski area. So either way, really, really beautiful. And then on the gallery level, which is like the like the main corridor level of the residence, you've got all of the shops and ski hire and restaurants and things based there. So you're looking at a really easy, really accessible holiday. And again, some great restaurants up here, some great takeaway options, some really nice family-friendly places. So Aime 2000 is one that people can easily write off because it doesn't have that beautiful kind of chocolate box appeal of a ski holiday, but actually super accessible, really great for a budget option, and some really stunning views. So don't write it off immediately. Oh, sorry folks, I was hoping to do that in one big long cut, but some people came and sat down next to me at the picnic table. Can you imagine the embarrassment? So I've had to move locations. Anyway, moving on, I want to talk now a bit about the valley villages. So we've covered the La Plagne altitude places, and now let's talk about the valley villages. Again, people often write them off because they think the access might not be as good, or they're worried about the snow, that there might not be enough snow to ski in and ski out of the villages. So firstly, I want to say our valley villages are all still around 1,200 metres above sea level, so that's still actually a lot higher than some of the other ski resorts that you might be looking at. And secondly, what I want to say is the piste teams really do prioritise keeping those ski slopes open at the end of the season to make sure that you can ski in and ski out. And I can say at the end of this season we've just had, which was like April 2026, we skied all the way into Bellecôte to have lunch, and there was snow, so do with that what you will. Let's talk about the villages separately now. So let's have a look at Champigny. So it's really easy to forget that Champigny is part of the Paradis ski area and the La Plagne ski area because geographically it's actually closer on a map to Courchevel and the Three Valleys. But they are ours, it is not part of the Three Valleys. And it is really beautiful. You've got some stunning accommodations here. Think refurbished farmhouses, really quaint old chalets, like really beautiful. And what you're also going to see is that these places are priced much more reasonably than the kind of comparable amount of beds and things up in the altitude villages. So if you're a bit more budget driven, then this could be a really good option for you. And it is really, really lovely. And then we've got Montchevan and Bellecôte. Again, both kind of jump together because they are very close to one another. Lovely villages, lovely feel. Again, some great chalet and catered chalet options down here, as well as cheaper residencies with apartments and stuff. So well worth having a look at, and some great access there as well if you want to head up really quickly and over to Les Arcs, so you get to the Vanoise very, very quickly. And it is also the village that's just below the Riders Nation snow park, so if you've got freestylers in your ski crew, then this could be a really great base for you as well. And then last up we have got Montalbert, and Montalbert is the real family-friendly village in La Plagne. It's got all of the labels, it ticks all of the boxes. It's the one that La Plagne really promotes as super family-friendly. It's really quaint, it's really cute, great activities for families and younger kids. Also super fast lift access up and out of Montalbert and to the higher peaks, so that you are kind of in the altitude skiing really, really quickly. So again, Montalbert, Montchevan and Bellecôte and Champigny, don't write them off because they are lower than some of the altitude villages, because they do also all have some really great points to them. So where do I recommend? Honestly, you can probably tell from the whole chat, I recommend different places for people who are looking for different things. So let's circle back to the start of the conversation when I said have a think about what your non-negotiables are. Do you want a budget-friendly accommodation? Do you want family-friendly? Do you want ski in, ski out? When you kind of fixed on those decisions, you'll see that some of those villages will have jumped out to you as the ones that are ticking the box for what you're looking for, and it will start to kind of move you towards making the right decision. So if you've got any questions about them, or you want to tell me a bit more about the type of holiday that you're on and help me kind of process through that decision, you can drop your comments below this video and I will get back to you and answer you. But I'll also put my email address in the comment as well, and you can drop me an email, because this is what I do. I help people make the best choices and the best decisions to ski in La Plagne and enjoy it as much as I do, because I arrived here as a non-skier nearly 20 years ago, and now I live here with my kids who are living the absolute dream. And I just want as many other families as possible to realise it's not that scary and that you can do it. You can teach your kids to ski, or you can do ski holidays with your kids. It doesn't have to break the bank. You can have a really reasonable priced ski holiday experience. So yeah, drop me your questions, let me know how I can help you out, and I will maybe see you on the slopes in La Plagne this winter. Bye.